people of the world. Episode 4, Marketing as a Foreign Language. Oh, we're back. Google, May 2020 update. What the heck is it? What does it mean? Questions will be answered. Call-only ads. Hey, do you want to pay per call instead of not paying per click? Might be something you want to stick around and learn more about. 2 articles on that. And then we'll be diving into just what the heck is going on with all of these folks graduating in this pandemic. What is their life like? Let us begin. Google, May 2020 core update is done rolling out. It is now time for you to review your site to see if this May 2020 update had an impact on Google rankings. It began rolling out on Monday, May 4th, 2020, and it is now done rolling out. So here is the tweet. The May 2020 core update rollout is complete. It took about 2 weeks to completely roll out. Google told us that the rollout of this core update would take about 1 to 2 weeks to fully roll out. Point being, of course, that if you are experiencing some shenanigans, some tomfoolery with your rankings, if you are wondering why the heck are they going up and they're going down, it is probably because there is something going on at Google. This was a big update based on the data we obtained around this update. This was a very big update. We looked at data from several companies that specialize in analyzing Google search-related data. Review your analytics. Now is the time to review your analytics to see if this update had an impact on your site. Truth is, by now, you would have already noticed the update if it had had negative or positive impact. But now that we know that this rollout is complete, it is now safe to dive in. This is something that you're going to want to check out in your Google Analytics, in your Google Search Console. What to do if you are hit. Google has given advice on what to consider if you are negatively impacted by a core update. There aren't specific actions to take to recover. Thank you, Google, for that. In fact, a negative rankings impact may not signal anything is wrong with your pages. How does that make any sense? Negative rankings impact may not signal anything is wrong with your pages, according to Search Engine Land and Barry Schwartz. However, Google has offered a list of questions to consider if your site is hit by a core update. A tab worth opening. Mr. Schwartz, let us read this tab. Google reiterated that there is often nothing to fix on your site after these core updates. We know those with sites that experience drops will be looking for a fix, and we want to ensure they don't try to fix the wrong things. It is possible that we are going to make a mistake in our perhaps vain attempts to fix these things, according to Google. I disagree. Moreover, there might not be anything to fix at all, Google added. There's nothing wrong with pages that may perform less well in a core update. What nonsense is this? You go to the doctor, you say, there's been a change in my body. My tooth now hurts. They say, there's nothing wrong with your tooth. It just isn't as good as it used to be. This to me is a load of nonsense. Here's an idea. This very stream that you find yourself watching, enjoying, digesting even, this very stream, all of the words that I'm saying, because they are going to end up as a YouTube video, are auto-captioned, which is to say that the very nature of doing this extra thing is changing the way that Google is perceiving Send It Rising internet marketing. So, could you go to your pages that are totally fine? According to Google, there's nothing wrong. Don't go in there and make changes. So you're telling me that if I have a page on my website that used to get 500 visits a day and it now gets 100, that I shouldn't go back in there and perhaps update the content? Perhaps add a video? Some photos? Of course you should. I think that this, whatever this is very weird to be telling people, if there's a problem, call me crazy. Perhaps we should get in there and attempt to fix it. So what has changed? The question then is, what has changed? Redundancy in articles. Huge fan. What do I need to do to make my site rank better in Google after a core update? Google said what has changed is how its system assesses content overall. Google gave this example on top movie ratings. One way to think of how a core update operates is to imagine, just imagine, you made a list of the top 100 movies in 2015. A few years later, in 2019, you refresh the list. It's going to naturally change. Some new and wonderful movies that never existed before will now be candidates for inclusion. You might also reassess some films and realize they deserved a higher place on the list than they had before. The list will change. The films previously higher on the list that moved down aren't bad. They're simply more deserving films that are coming before them, Google wrote. Lanesia Kautzman on stream. Don't worry, everything is fine. She writes, "You're amazing, Lanesia. You win all the prizes." Now, they are simply more deserving. Okay, so this is Google's attempt to say, you're getting old. This is Google saying, oh, you wrote a post in 2015, but now that you're old, you shouldn't be complaining about the fact that you're old. And that, of course, is gibberish, nonsense, because you can always go back to a page. You can always change a page from the past and bring it up to current standards. That is not like a movie. You don't go back to a movie, reshoot some of the scenes, and expect the matrix to get redone. You just make another matrix. But this is the difference between the internet and a movie. This particular analogy, I think, is garbage. Lanesia Kautzman writes, Chris Hemsworth will still be in the refreshed list. And she is correct about that. Chris Hemsworth will always be on the top of all of the lists. Google's latest advice is similar to the advice it gave in 2011. Fantastic. Around its Panda, the cutest of algorithms. We suggest focusing on ensuring you're offering the best content you can. That's what our algorithm seeks to reward. Duh. Again, you can go back to a page that you wrote in 2015 and you can make it this incredible best content that Google so desires. The company offered the following list of questions to consider when evaluating your future spouse. Content. Does the content provide original information, reporting, research, or analysis? Does the content provide a substantial, complete, or comprehensive description of the topic? I feel like this is the AP English teacher talking to the C or D student about the 45-word essay they wrote that is incomprehensible. Does the content provide insightful analysis? Joe, the student, of course, is named Joe. Joe, does the content provide insightful analysis or interesting information that is beyond obvious? If the content draws on other sources, does it avoid simply copying or rewriting? Google is an English teacher. Does the headline or page title provide a descriptive, helpful summary of the content, or is it just a keyword? Does the point of this article make any sense other than to exaggerate what is obvious? Expertise questions. Does the content present information in a way that will make you want to trust it, such as clear sourcing? If you graduated high school English, you will understand. Is the content free from spelling issues? Does it appear sloppy or hastily produced? Okay, fine, we get it. Google is an English teacher. Lenasia Kautzman chiming in with, old people have a right to complain. And she is correct about that. They do, in fact, have that right. It is in the Constitution. Moving right along. Call-only ads. If you are going to pay money for pay-per-click in Google Ads, you might want to consider paying for a call instead, because isn't that ultimately what you want if you are a local service? Obviously, excluding e-commerce sites. Most local business owners have one concern. How do I make the phone ring? Yes, this is a picture of a woman who is waiting for that phone to ring. She is obviously a local business owner. They stay up night terrified that one day they'll head to work and the phones are dead. Unfortunately, many local business owners are already experiencing this problem, with map results shrinking, ad space increasing, and national brands owning organic results. Local businesses owners are feeling helpless. Blah, blah, blah. Here we have a meme of two eggs reading the news, and it has on the meme, excellent news. Very helpful meme. Thank you for that. The mind of a searcher. Preparing internally for your call-only ad campaign. Okay, here's the point. On your cell phone, if you can run an ad where the only option for someone is to call your business, what would you be willing to pay for that phone call? What language would you include in that very short ad? Would you say, call today for emergency plumbing, perhaps? Call today for probate help. Call today for help with your will. What could the language be? And the best part, of course, is that you only pay if they call. We have determined that our industry is a good fit and that Google Ads is important, but is our actual business a good fit for call-only ads? We obviously want call tracking. CallRail, CallRail is a software, I suppose you could call it. It is a website. It is code that is very helpful at tracking phone calls. It will tell you who called, if they are a first-time caller, their phone number, and it will even record that call for you to see if your staff knows what the heck they are talking about. To test your preparedness, have a friend call your business and put the call on speakerphone. What is the experience like? Blah, blah, blah. Building your call-only ad campaign. Setting up a successful campaign is more art than science. I don't know if that's true, but we will give guest author. Thank you, guest author, for this particular post. We will give guest author the benefit of the doubt. But to make sure the artist in you is successful, let's make sure to set up a clear process for success. Okay, here we will dive into the thought process behind building a successful campaign. Understand the market. Obvious. So, keywords. Let's use the example of a plumber, shall we? You could do a number of call-only campaigns. You could do one that is leaky kitchen faucet. You could do leaky bathroom faucet. You could do clogged drain. Call right now to get a tech out. The point, of course, is that you want to be hyper specific. If I am on my phone and there's an emergency with, say, my water heater, we could have a water heater specific pay per call campaign where the user realizes that we will come out, say, 24 hours a day. What is the most important piece of information that the potential customer needs in order to feel comfortable calling you? Craft your ad copy. Your ad copy is your landing page. Be a unicorn in a sea of donkeys, according to this tweet that my daughter would enjoy. That is a unicorn mug with a rainbow. Fantastic. Here are examples of call-only ads. Slightly outdated, but you do get the idea. Not a lot of text. Here we have mycleaninglady.com/pro_maids. Best priced cleaning maids in SGV. Savannah, Georgia, Virginia. Who knows what that means? Family owned, pre-screened maids. best priced cleaning maids. Get your home clean today. Sick of cleaning your toilet? Property management for homeowners. SGV, integrity, quality, and a flat rate of $99. I am loving the price in call-only ads, because if they don't agree, if they don't dig the price, well then they're not going to click on the call-only ad and you're not going to spend the money. So there, my friends, is the rub. Listen to your calls. Google Ads, formerly known as AdWords, is about your approach and feedback loop from the customer. This is clear information, and so we will move on to a pay-per-call campaign for a slightly more targeted niche. Here we have examples in the legal field. The legal field is competitive. It is, in fact, very expensive to run pay-per-call, pay-per-click of any sort. Personal injury attorney clicks I've seen as high as $40 or $50 per click. So the pay-per-call is going to be incredibly expensive. Phone numbers can be shared across ads within a particular ad group or entire campaigns in AdWords. Business numbers can be set to show only during times when the business is open to receive calls. This is as obvious as the sun rising every morning. You want to make sure that you are running your call-only ads during specific times, perhaps even 10 to noon or 1 to 3. Why? Because if the phone rings during that designated time, you intrinsically will recall that this is the time that I receive these particular calls. Your entire biochemical system, your brain, your nervous system will react in a different way. If it is running from 9 to 5, and if at 4:55 someone calls you and you're about to leave for the day, is this a sales call you really want to take? You definitely want to ensure that the hours are correct, especially if you are an attorney and you are paying copious amounts of dollars and bills for these calls. Driving calls during specific hours. Just chatted about it. Showcase company values to drive calls. With call-only ads, there's limited real estate available, as we've discussed earlier. Customers need a reason. Yes, they do. Tell them what it is that drives the law firm to fight for clients, and make a concise case about exactly how the firm can fulfill the needs. Again, price would be fantastic. If you are not the cheapest around, then service, availability, things of this nature are good to include. Track campaigns, that is, again, quite obvious. Moving right along. Burlington restaurant finds a lifeline in social media. A small business, as small businesses in the food industry reel from the effects of the spread of COVID-19, a Burlington restaurant is finding a way to navigate the pandemic. Kern Dixon, owner of Dixon's Jamaican Taste, noticed a significant decrease in business in February during the beginning of the pandemic. My main concern for business, I should say, one of the business types that I am most concerned about in this particular corona-infused experience we find ourselves in, is the restaurant business. Dixon didn't waver and stood firm with the same marketing techniques he relied on when he first opened in August of last year. Ouch. Not fantastic timing. Dixon is using word-of-mouth marketing to guide him through the dark days of the COVID-19 pandemic. After a rocky February, he managed to recover in March and April, while many restaurants and other small businesses face deciding whether to close permanently. Dixon believes he is starting to see the effects of his continual use of social media to spread the word about his business. Quote, business has been around 80% of what it used to be, Dixon said. I think the pandemic kind of opened a lot of people's eyes up to the restaurant. People can buy a plate and share it with others. Most people are getting around to knowing us now. Perhaps many small businesses will have to rely heavily on this free form of promotion in their last-ditch attempt to revitalize business during unprecedented circumstances. According to a recent study from Nielsen, a global marketing research firm, 92% of consumers believe recommendations from family members and friends over any form of advertising. Yes, this is one of the effects of Google reviews as well. We do want to see the public's experience. I trust a 2-star review more than a 1-star, and definitely more than a 5-star. Dixon also thought of an opportunity to assist the community, and it ended up paying off big time. As a former police officer, Dixon knew the importance of community service. I think karma is coming in this article, and he came up with an idea to give hundreds of meals to the Burlington police and fire departments. In addition to preparing and delivering meals, he penned personal notes to first responders, thanking them for their service. Quote, I understand the sacrifices you all have to make every day to keep the community safe throughout the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond, Dixon wrote. He shared his efforts on social media, and customers commented on how they perceived this to be thoughtful. It created something of a buzz on his page as people liked and commented on a post that resonated with them. One customer writing, quote, he is an amazing guy with a blessed heart and outstanding vision. Another wrote, quote, that's awesome. Love your food. I tell everyone. Glad you have a successful restaurant. There is a lot of guilt, I feel, of folks who used to be patrons of various restaurants who no longer can go. Obviously, they want the food, but the new normal has taken effect. Rather, the perhaps not so new normal, let us call it a temporary bump in the road. What Dixon had viewed as a simple act of kindness resulted in effective marketing. That, to me, that sums up cause marketing. What Dixon had viewed as a simple act of kindness resulted in effective marketing. Advertising, from the Latin advertere, to turn toward. What do people turn toward? They turn toward generosity. As states struggle to reopen, small businesses will struggle to adjust to a new marketplace and grapple with how they can remain relevant while attempting to revive their businesses. According to a survey published by Main Street America, a nonprofit network with more than 1,000 commercial districts with 300,000 small businesses, more than 7.5 million small businesses will be at risk of closing permanently over the coming 5 months. Dixon's Jamaican Taste has been open for only 9 months. He is adamant he will not apply for a loan to keep his doors open. Well, what have we learned? We have learned, of course, that it is of the utmost importance to remember karma. Not only because it comes back to us in ways that are unpredictable, but also because having that in mind perhaps will help you in more ways than one. Class of 2020. Social media, social distancing, TikTok, Snapchat. What is going on with this generation? They were born in the shadow of 9/11 and are graduating from high school in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. In between, today's high school senior class grew up listening to Drake, Iggy Azalea, and Taylor Swift. They paid more than $8 for a movie ticket to see Marvel's The Avengers, and they once played a video game that saw them exploring neighborhoods and parks in search of Pokemon. From social media to social distancing, the class of 2020 has been like no other. These are, of course, going to be heavy consumers in short order. What is their life like? They are the smartphone generation, never knowing a world without one. I recall getting a cell phone in college, incredibly painfully slow internet when I was younger. Their life could not possibly be different. Going to a concert or major sporting event, no need for a paper ticket. These graduates will flash an electronic ticket. It sounds like Mr. Krumel is, for lack of a better word, a bit experienced, let's say, to use a good word to describe him. Taking a trip, forget about getting directions and be cursed if you unfold a map. That's what GPS is for, and it is, of course, on their phones. So, what are we going to do to market to these folks? This leads me to think about augmented reality. What is coming next? What is the big next thing in advertising? If you are able to join a basketball game, say, and be able to see the game from the perspective of the player, if you can click on LeBron James and now you have the LeBron James cam, and then you click on his defender, or you have 6 screens up, you've got 100 screen options. If you are able to somehow sync a game that you are playing with a live game where you can make different decisions based on what the different players are doing, this could be the future. Augmented reality at the actual stadium itself is a no-brainer. You can look at someone, see their stats. Google Glass, things of this nature, glasses that have additional information on them is happening for sure. Saw an Elon Musk episode with Joe Rogan recently where they were talking about implants in the brain, perhaps even bringing folks with paralysis all the way back up to fully functioning status. These are some of the things that are on the cusp of coming into existence. So, how do we leverage advancing technology? Well, first of all, Snapchat and TikTok aren't going to look like Snapchat and TikTok in 5 to 10 years, just as Facebook has evolved heavily. Google remains dominant in search. I predicted that Facebook would find a way to challenge Google in that space, and yet I feel they simply have not. Google Plus was an absolute disaster, and so the two niches have been carved out. Facebook Live has been dominant. YouTube, for YouTubers that have large subscriber bases, YouTube Live is incredibly strong. So, as we evolve forward, here are the main points. Number 1, short and long-term strategy. Call-only ads. I would suggest using them if you haven't tried them. Get the phone to ring. Engage with that audience. If it's a quick, easy way to drive leads, then why not do exactly that? When it comes to algorithm updates, do not believe the haters when they say there's nothing to be done. Of course, there are many, many things to be done. Streaming is not going anywhere. This pandemic will only increase the number of people doing what I am doing right now. The audio quality, the internet quality is now there. We are in an era where we can live in these virtual environments pretty much consistently. Instacart will deliver groceries to our homes. Uber will pick us up and take us from point A to point B. Sites like Twitch, people are being paid in bits. Currencies are being invented. Bitcoin is back up to approximately $10,000. We are on the cusp of perhaps a work-from-home revolution. So, positivity, the law of attraction, if you will, keeping the vision in mind is as relevant now as it was 5, 10 years ago, 100, 1,000, dare I say, millions of years ago. So, as you move forward in life, remember that advertising is advertere. It is simply getting others to turn towards you. If you are considering getting into video, getting into streaming, let me tell you, it is an absolute blast, and I highly recommend it. That, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up this particular episode. And yes, it has been a pleasure talking to you next to this gentleman over here. Gaze upon him. The Jim Krumel and I, signing off. We'll talk to you next time.